All right, it's Matt Sainty Capital from the Sainty Sells Houses team, and I've got my buddy AY, the mortgage man.
Okay.
You don't go by mortgage man.
I really
but
don't.
Whatever.
I never have.
Anyways,
Mortgage boy.
the
when I was younger.
mortgage boy.
I was a mortgage boy when I was younger.
We've talked about firing up the podcasts again, and I think that's what we're going to do here. And it's Christmas right around the corner, and so we're wearing Christmas sweaters.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, they say.
Yeah, well, it's it's nice. It's a time to like recharge, relax, spend time with family and friends, drink eggnog, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I like eggnog.
Eggnog is gross.
I made it a month ago, and I'm letting it ferment in the fridge.
Yeah,
because
you
it just
shouldn't.
gets better and better.
No,
Yeah, it's wonderful.
no, that's gross. Anyways, let's get into it. So let's talk.
I won't bring you any.
You want what?
I won't bring you any.
Bring some. Cam likes eggnog.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not into like dairy style things.
Well, if I made it with coconut milk and almond milk, would you be okay with
I
that?
would try it.
That's what I made it with. So you're
Okay,
gonna
so
try
then I'll try it.
Yeah,
But
okay,
yeah,
great.
like things with dairy, I'm not. They don't work with
it. I
me.
appreciate your flexibility.
I'm happy to be
Thanks for
flexible
being
for you.
open-minded.
I am open-minded.
Okay, good.
All right.
All right.
So let's talk mortgages.
Okay.
Mortgages, interest rates,
Yeah.
where things are going, where things were. Give me your take on the. Let's rewind. Give me your take on the 12 months leading up to super high record housing prices, ultra low money. What were your thoughts on what, let's say, the central banks did, bringing money to what, 0.25 overnight lending rate?
When you think about it, we had that sort of, well, when COVID hit, I guess you had that housing surge, but at the same time you had ultra low interest rates. I mean,
Yeah.
I was locking people in for fixed rates at like 1.59, 1.79, right, for an insured or insurable mortgage. So I mean, at that point, you kind of scratch your head and like, this feels weird, because
Yeah.
at that time, the 10-year, like the average 5-year rate over the 10-year span was 5%.
Yeah.
So you're well under what the average was at
Like
the time,
crazy
right?
under.
Yeah, ridiculous amounts,
Yep.
right? So you're not even paying 2% on money, which also is like kind of a head scratcher,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, we've gone from head scratcher low to head scratcher high. So I got in mortgage business around 2005. And
So
in
hold on. Okay, so 2005, what
Yeah.
was roughly 5-year fixed 25 AM?
579.
579.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm full circle in my career.
Yeah. You're
So
back up
it's
to
really weird. Yeah, back up to where it all began, right?
Yeah.
Started from the bottom, now we're back again, is what Drake would probably say.
You might want to talk a little louder because
Oh, really?
yeah, you're a little low voice.
Am I?
Maybe, I don't know.
Thanks for that.
Just letting you know.
Yay.
Okay. So then in the mortgage world, when all of these glorious supreme leaders that I always like to, I kind of reference them that way these days because
Am I one of those leaders?
no, like
Okay.
I like the central
Thanks for
bankers
that.
and
Okay.
and like all these government people who you're really struggling with the mic.
I'm very strong.
So
Keeps going.
what, like, when rates went to these ultra low levels, what was being said in your world, like behind closed door? You know what I mean? Like, no one's gonna obviously come out, like, no lender's gonna come out and say, okay, the Central Bank of Canada or the Federal Reserve in the States is bloody nuts because this is gonna lead to a problem. But
I mean-
like, did you guys have those kind of like, call it like, okay, in the end, this is gonna go bad?
If you've been around for a while,
Yeah.
and you're just like, okay, so what's going to happen? So I started at 579, then it went down, down, down,
Yep.
and you just pour a bunch of business in, right?
Yep.
So the spreads are still okay for the lenders,
Yep.
but then it's always a play of what's volume doing versus the profitability per mortgage, right?
Yep.
So there's always that game. So they're always playing that game, and they're always giving us. Sometimes we get like compensated on different deals where they want to
Yep.
fill their buckets,
Yep.
right? So I want to fill their buckets on like 1 or 2 year terms. So here's like a pay bonus because we want to balance out our
Yeah.
balance sheets. But yeah, no, we're sitting at 179, and of course everybody just wants to break their mortgage
Yeah.
and pay crazy.
Well, why
penalties.
wouldn't you? I mean, if you're paying
Absolutely.
325,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you okay, no, I'll pay some penalty. Maybe, like, in obviously,
yeah, you do the calculation on it. But I
Yeah.
mean, people were breaking mortgages for like 20,000 because it just made sense.
yeah.
Because you're 379, and I can get down to 179.
So what?
Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. In an example like that, what would it like? What was it costing somebody to, or maybe explain like
Yeah.
how are the costs associated with breaking a mortgage?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things. I mean, if you're in a standard, what's called a standard clause mortgage, which
Yep.
is not a low rate basic mortgage. A low rate basic mortgage means there's certain penalties or stipulations, and massive penalties and stipulations if you break your mortgage early.
Yep.
So if you're in a low rate basic product or a value plus mortgage, there's a whole bunch of different marketing behind there. But if you're in a restricted program, a lot of the time it's like a 3% penalty.
Yeah,
So it's 3% on the balance, no matter what. Even if you stay with the same lender, sometimes they'll reduce it and that kind of stuff. So there's that sort of caveat there, and you can get a variable rate or a fixed rate in that.
Yep.
Low rate basic mortgage. If you have a standard variable rate clause in mortgage, it's generally a 3-month interest penalty.
Yeah.
So on
So
average, you're
that's-
anywhere 15, $2,000,
Which
plus
is
a discharge
nothing when
fee
you're-
of like 400.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah,
If
so
you're
that's-
breaking it, you're saving $60,000 over the next 4.5 years.
yeah, it's a no-brainer.
You need a couple grand.
Yeah.
You'll be okay. Your net, you know, is far ahead. So it's worth baking that into it, right? If you're in a fixed rate, it depends on how long and how far you are into your term of the mortgage.
Mhm.
So the earlier in the term, the more penalty you're going to pay.
Yep.
So on average, they take the difference between what you're paying and the discount that they're offering you on the new rate. You take that on a monthly basis and times that by your remaining months. So it's called an interest rate differential.
Yeah.
So that could be, there was penalties, I saw penalties in the 40,000 mark. If you
And-
had a penalty, if you had a mortgage size of like 400,000, penalties
Yeah.
were like 36 and 40.
And were people still like, no, in the end, over the next 5 years, this makes sense?
Not
Or
at
was
that
it-
point. The
that's
break even
kind of-
wasn't there. The break even was kind of on average.
Yeah.
It would make sense if you were like 16 to 18,000 in a
Yeah.
penalty. We would break that. It would make sense at that lower interest rate.
Yeah.
But then you have the conversations. Okay, so we're having sort of increased prices and low rates. Oh, I'm calling everybody to get equity out of their house.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, I know you wanted a pool. Hey, I know your kids are going to Harvard. Hey, everything, right? So why don't we take advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
So then the volumes were insane. Turnaround times were kind of garbage. And then the lender's like, well, this is crazy. So the volume is crazy. We have to either hire people or just jack the rates up because we can't hire.
'Cause you can't.
You can't stand the volume, right?
So
Supply and demand.
what percentage, like what percentage increase were refis? Because I guess that's what you're talking, right? It's
Yeah.
like refis, like that exploded, right?
Yeah, I mean pools.
Yeah.
Pools, hot tubs.
Well, yeah, I mean,
luxury.
yeah.
Finishing basements.
Everything
doing
and
their
anything
kitchens,
people
anything.
wanted to do their
Yeah.
homes.
People
They
were pulling out
did
100,
it-
150.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember talking to you. Like, we had been saving for a pool for 7 years. And then it was like, okay, well, if money is so cheap, why are we putting our cash at doing up our backyard when we can, sure, do some cash, some refi, and then just go and invest that money and get a return,
Right.
like a much better return,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. So I mean, and that's all the money game. And going back before I was in mortgages, I was in the financial planning business.
Yeah.
So you have that consultation, you have that with clients, and you know, the bottom line is what is it going to cost you versus how long is it going to save. So if I'm going to save 7 years for a pool, but in 7 years pools are now $300,000, how much money did you save?
Yeah.
Because you'll never have.
No,
a
and
pool, right.
it's funny you say that now because it's like really when we first started looking at getting the pool and what it was going to cost to like when we pulled the trigger and actually did it, it was more than double with what we did to our backyard.
Yeah, cost of waiting, supply and demand.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like after now that we've gone through that, there's certain things that have changed my thought process on stuff. And one of those things, like right now, it's like when people talk about, like right now, mortgage rates are going up, housing prices are going to come down more, I'm going to wait. Here's the problem. I think more often than not, when we play the waiting game, in the end, we are worse off.
Yeah, I mean, there's the old adage:
yeah.
buy real estate and wait. Don't wait and buy real estate.
Right.
And
Like-
I mean, let's talk about London though. Everybody's talking about bubble, bubble, bubble. This goes up, this goes down. Everybody knows that in Calgary, more often than not, with the price of oil or whatever
Yes.
oil's it goes up.
Yeah.
There's way more fluctuation. In
Oh
Calgary.
yeah,
than-
Calgary's
right?
a yo-yo.
So I mean, it's crazy, and I mean, you can still buy condos for like $89,000 in Calgary.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
right?
that
But
doesn't exist
but
in Ontario,
But in
I
London,
don't think,
it's so steady.
Yep.
I mean, there's obviously the variant with COVID, just like everything else,
Yep.
to an extreme. But that's what happened. I mean, the values went crazy, and everybody's like, all of a sudden, you have, all this equity in your home, so you're accessing that. Or on the purchase side, people are selling, and now they have like 50% down because of
Yeah.
all the equity and the increased value. So everybody upgraded.
Yep.
So everybody upgraded, and it was great. It was a great time. Like my business went up about 40% during
Yeah.
COVID. It's just because, but the other thing that happened during COVID because of this was, I was always kind of 80% purchases, 20% refinances,
Yeah.
and it switched to 50-50 like first week.
Really.
I've never seen that
Yeah,
swing
that's
in my
wild.
career.
Yeah.
So I mean that was crazy. So I mean just dealing with that, and I mean the rates were pretty good. Refinance rates are generally higher than insurable purchases, right?
Yeah.
But I mean you're only talking about 20-30 basis points at the time, so
Yeah.
well worth it still.
Yep.
So with COVID, I mean basic economics is the government is trying to control the supply and demand of things.
Yes.
So prices were demand was high, obviously price is going to follow.
Yep.
Because you either can't get it, so you have to make more price per unit, or you just want less people to buy it, so you price it out of the market. Well, people weren't being priced out of the market. They're like, I haven't had anything for 2 years. I
Yeah.
want all the things. I want all
Yeah.
the things.
You've got all this pent-up demand.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of people that I spoke to who call it 3+ years ago, had hesitation on spending a lot of money on doing things to their home, they didn't care anymore because, well, you're limited in what you can do.
Yeah.
Oh, you try and find a campsite. Well, you can only, campsite bookings, you can only book 50% of them. So good luck getting a campsite. Good luck doing anything, right? So people just hit the I don't care button and just raced out and said, I just want to be happy. I mean, that was some of when you look at just personally what we did to our backyard, it was like, no, I mean, I want my backyard to be a resort. My backyard has surround sound.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else who has surround sound in their backyard. And I'm like, people are like, why would you do it? Well, one, it's really actually not that expensive to do. You just have to plan it out before you pour concrete everywhere. But it's like, no, I want to be able to enjoy my summers in a backyard with a pool, with a hot tub, with a cabana, watching TV, listening to music, and having kids run around and do whatever without, and just let the world disappear around me, right?
Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be in. I mean, those low rates allowed a lot of people to, increase the value of their homes or increase their lifestyle. Because if you weren't able to go out as much as we were previously, I want an outdoor kitchen.
Yeah.
Or I want this now. I'm going to get
So
this.
many people are doing outdoor
Everybody's
kitchens.
got pellet smokers. And,
Yeah. Everybody.
becoming in-house chefs.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. So it was a great vehicle. But when the volumes were up, and then all of a sudden, I did a deal one time, and the service was really, really terrible. It was with one of the big banks, and there's underwriters in our business, and then with the lenders, and then there's condition fulfillment managers. Condition fulfillment managers obviously look at the pay stubs and letters and that kind of stuff, and they do that. And it was taking a long time for a very simple thing to get done. And we were just talking to this one condition fulfillment manager, and we decided to go on LinkedIn to find out who it was and how long they'd been in the industry.
Yeah.
Well, they were there for 2 weeks
Oh,
at this
great.
lender,
Yeah.
and before that, it was she was at Tim Hortons, which is not an issue. I'm not. But
No,
it's
yeah, but you're very different.
You're going from Tim Hortons to underwriting and so that's the extreme of the hires.
Yeah.
And great. I mean, she's making more money than she probably did
Yeah.
at Tim Hortons, but at the same time, the service standards were just. But you had to reach out to such a breadth of people to staff the amount of mortgage. So that's what kind of caused supply and demand as well. It caused rates to going up. But when the government was trying to control everything, it went like inflation to 8.1%, which is the highest it's been in over 35
Yeah.
years. Which to me is crazy. It feels like, and everybody wants to criticize the government because it's fun and you want to sit around the mall, you know.
Well, I
and
mean,
just talk about
I've
it,
always
right?
said it.
Everybody
I
does
hate all politicians because they never do the. I mean, central bankers never do the right thing at the right time, and neither do politicians because politicians are just playing an election cycle. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's the flaw of politics.
And it's so overt and obvious, but I mean, it feels like they were just using like a Dungeons and Dragons dice, like a dodecahedron, and they're just like, oh, whatever pops up, we'll increase it by. And you're just like, and you're just like, oh, Jesus. So I mean, with all these rates, I think it's absurd. I think it's egregious, and I think it's really
like the pace at which they're increasing rates.
Just exacerbating. Like you've never seen it before. Like it's insane.
Well, yeah, historically speaking, we have never seen rates move this fast as a percent.
No.
Right?
And unnecessarily so. It doesn't really make any sense. So now, and you know, admittedly, they're just like, we would rather overcorrect.
Yeah.
And then bring it down, like, eventually. But that doesn't make a lot of sense.
So where do you think they're going to move it? Like, what are we at now? What's the overnight lending? What's the overnight rate? 3.7. I think it is 3.75. Yeah.
And it's like,
so December, there's one more.
It's probably going to increase.
25.50.
Here's the thing: is I'm an eternal optimist.
Yeah.
And I always don't think it's going to go up that much. So you know the 75.
No one did.
The 75
I think I was
rate,
the only one.
The 50 rates,
that
like we
was
talked
saying,
about the day before, right?
Yep.
And I was like, I'm hoping for 50. I never say it's going to, and then I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
But it'll probably go up another 25, 50.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Well, if you read the Bank of Canada statements, they say until inflation is at the acceptable rate of 2%, this is always the last paragraph. Every announcement, whether it's the Bank of Canada or the US Fed, doesn't matter. Skip the headline, skip all the top, go to the last paragraph.
Yeah.
It tells you exactly what they're thinking. And it says something to the effect of, we will continue to increase the overnight lending rate as long as inflation stays higher than our key target rate of 2%.
Right.
Well, we're at, like, what are we at now? 6.9?
Yeah, 6.9 last month. Yeah.
Okay, it's not dropping fast enough.
Not at all. Not even close.
Now, the problem is Christmas is here, New Year's is here, winter's here. You know, we're jumping back into the cycle of people are questioning things. Okay, are they going to shut down restaurants? Are they going to shut down entertainment venues? I mean, that's now becoming a topic which, if they do that, well, then back to these businesses don't have income. They're going to have to borrow money. So now we're at ultra high rates. It's problematic.
Or more
but I mean, here's the funny thing, and like, I'm not so positive on some of these things. So they can stop inflation tomorrow if they want, like that. Remove carbon tax. If you're like, really, if you look at what is, like, carbon tax is a tax that is designed to penalize consumers who are buying things that have a higher carbon output, right? That's like the way, so gas, for instance, that's everything in this world moves by diesel and gas. Well, shame on you for consuming products that use gas and diesel. We're adding carbon tax. That's inflation on everything, right? Like, gas has never been more expensive. Barrel of oil has been more expensive, which is a weird one. But gas, like, right? Like, I don't even know what it's. I think it's like $80 a barrel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 150.
Sure.
And even when a barrel of oil was 150, gas and diesel is not at this price.
No. Yeah, diesel's crazy right now.
It's insane. It's over $2.
Yeah.
And like
aggressively over $2.
Yes. And they're saying it's going to go higher.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to somebody, and I spoke with a few people about this, and I said, you know, most people never stop and think about how the world works. The world runs on energy. The world runs on diesel. And people are like, well, like, not really. I said, no, it does. I said,
big ships, diesel.
Big ships are diesel, but I said, take a loaf of bread as example. When you go from everything from the seed moving to the co-op, to the farmer, to then being harvested, and then, you know, going to the mill and everything, literally the cost on every single thing there has gone up, I don't know, anywhere from probably 40 to 65%. So now, I'm not saying you just go, I mean, obviously, like, I think the reality is we have to change the way we do certain things. But really, if you want to fix inflation, especially looking at what transpired over the past 3 years, I don't think you introduce carbon taxes the way you are right now while we're in a recovery mode. Because you remove carbon tax, like just as an example.
We're not even in a recovery mode yet.
Well,
We
we're
haven't hit
not.
a
No,
recession yet.
we're like they're still just trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Like, are we in a recession? Well, let's change the definition so we say we're not. It's like, come on,
They have
people.
to
Like,
call a recession. That's the only thing that's going to save
yeah,
us, right?
like call a recession. Just call it. But I don't think they are, because they don't have a plan to. Normally, when you're in a recession, what do you do as a government? You cut taxes. You increase spending. They're not prepared to do it.
You drop rates to stimulate.
You drop, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not prepared to do it because of what they just did. Okay, well, just suspend carbon taxes. Like, in all honesty, like, really, like, it's on it's on diesel, it's on gas, it's on natural gas, it's on propane, like,
Well, I mean,
it's
you
on
brought-
electricity.
You brought up the fuel and the transport of food and the transport of food. I heard the stat the other day that 52% of Canadians are concerned about affording groceries and food for their family.
I 100% believe it.
52%. It's probably higher.
Probably.
I mean, like California has a shortage of lettuce right now, and
London.
I had
We have a lettuce shortage in London.
A head of lettuce is $8 right now.
Yeah.
If you can find a small shriveled up piece of
Yeah.
romaine, it's crazy. It's crazy. I eat food every day.
Well,
and it's-
yeah.
it's not
I mean, I don't think we can survive on just air.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I
And
think people
so,
tried that. It didn't go well.
yeah, I mean, okay, but like that head of lettuce, what moves it? It's a diesel truck. When that lettuce is in storage at the warehouse, okay, you either have AC or a freezer that's operating on electricity, or if it's a product that requires a temperature above freezing or a warmer temperature, you need natural gas. Again, both of these things have carbon tax on them.
Right.
Again, figure out a plan, but don't do it right now, because we're penalizing, we are marginalizing the most vulnerable people of society right now, and nobody wants to talk about it, because by talking about it, you get a target on your back as being some climate change denier or whatever weird ass label people want to put on it. But let's just be honest. Like, I have no idea what the carbon tax is on gas or diesel. I know I've seen it before, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't really care. I drive an EV, you drive an EV. It doesn't affect my life as much as it does others, but I believe in things like sustainability. But at the end of the day, I think we need to put focus, get diesel back to $1.20, get gas back down to $1.
I mean, my car,
that'll help everybody.
My car came over from overseas on a diesel ship.
Yeah.
So there's still carbon involved. In
Yeah,
my EV,
there is.
Right. So
Well, there's a new study that came out that says like an EV vehicle isn't greener until you hit 100,000 miles, because what is involved? You need more minerals to make them, right? Oh, it's
I mean, the other thing you have to consider too is in like real estate, residential, commercial sales, leasing, renovation, construction, that kind of stuff is the second largest GDP in Canada.
Yep.
So when you start playing that game because you're watching Google News or you're watching whatever sort of news institution you subscribe to or
Yep.
subscribes to you, then they're paying attention to that. And if it's in the news all the time, the government's like, oh my God, we got to slow down this market.
Yeah.
Increase the foreign buyer tax to 15 to 20% or whatever it is.
Yeah, and
the GVA, GTA, and all this stuff. And you're just like, okay, so now you're messing with the second largest GDP. So this makes us what's profitable in and outside the country.
Yeah.
So now you're messing with that. And you did that in 2016. You did that in 2018.
Did
Now
it
you're
really
doing
have an effect though?
It had a pause. It did
Yeah.
for a short period of time.
Because the people who are bringing in $1 million to buy real estate as a foreigner in Canada, they have a workaround, right? Like they just always do, right?
it's one of those things where we look like we're doing something.
Right.
It's just a
Just
play like you
pandering.
brought in before, right? It's just I need more votes, so I need to look like I'm
Yeah.
doing something useful. So here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that Canadians get the first kick at real estate.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
So who's lining up to buy that $8 million oceanfront property in Vancouver?
Yeah.
Not
Canadians.
Not a lot of locals,
No.
So
it's
what-
Asian money coming over.
So what did you
and,
do?
Yeah.
right? So I mean, when you start picking on that because of the relevancy in the media, I think there's an absolute problem with that.
Yeah.
So we said before we started recording, just keep it out of the media for a little bit and just let the industry do what the industry does,
Yeah.
and just relax.
Yeah.
You know, the older I get, which is a funny thing to say, is one of my mottos is do less.
Yeah.
Say less, do less, and do more purposeful things.
Yeah. Makes
So
sense.
when I'm younger, you're just a Labrador Retriever, like
Yeah.
you and I earlier in our careers.
Yeah.
We would just like meet for coffee and then go for another coffee and do
Yeah.
this and this. We're running around. We want to make everybody else happy.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit older, and then you're all of a sudden A plus B equals C. I'm A. I know where I want to get with C. Now I'm just doing the B things.
Yeah.
When you get a little bit older and more successful, now I'm full binary.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm all in. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just one of those things where just do the right things, slow down, do less, say
Yeah.
less, and do more purposeful things.
Yeah.
I think start governing real estate, mortgages, and getting your hand in that. When you don't consult anybody in the mortgage industry, when you don't consult anybody in the real estate industry, when you don't consult anybody in the economics industry, and you just start making changes and policies,
Yeah.
it's dangerous.
Very.
It's dangerous, man.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, in Canada, I mean we've had a housing crisis for about a decade, and there's never enough supply. Well, I guess in the mortgage space, what are you guys seeing, like new construction? Because you can jack rates all you want, but that doesn't help new builds right now anywhere in this country, because lot prices were at record highs and the cost to build a home is at a record high. So have you guys noticed mortgages for new builds like dropping? Maybe they disappeared completely. Like, I have no idea, but
Yeah, the assignments are going to be insane.
yeah.
And there's people that started off this process. If it takes 2 years to build a house, you can get like a 1-year rate hold
Yeah.
or an 18-month rate hold.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, that's gone because something materially changed in the application.
Yeah.
So you can't afford it. So
Nope.
who's going to buy it? So that's the
And the
problem.
builder's not taking the loss.
Well, the builders can
I
take
mean,
a
they
loss
might-
on one, but they're going to have to
they-
make it up on the others.
Yeah,
right?
they can't take a loss on 50 homes or 20 homes. I mean, you can't.
decimated. You're
Yeah.
decimated, so you have to play that.
So when do you think the rate adjustments that have happened, when do you think that starts to really kick in and cause some rifts in the new build sector?
I mean, it already.
I mean,
will.
I know it already
Nobody's
is,
talking about it,
but
right?
when does it really kick in where it's like, okay, this is becoming a real problem?
I mean, to be honest with you, most new builds are delayed quite a bit with
Yeah.
supply demand. So you're probably, on average, you're probably delayed 2-3 months
Yep.
at minimum with most new builds. So I mean, it may actually just work out okay because hopefully they're saying in Q2 of 2023 there's a 75% chance of a recession.
Yeah.
So that'll help. So if I'm looking forward to that, that means
How
it's
will
gonna-
that
that's
help?
that's good. Well,
Like, you think
in
that'll-
the recession that'll help lower the rates,
Right.
Keep
Okay.
lending rates, fixed rates, variable rates, and they'll follow, and they'll start dropping a little bit.
I've heard a couple analysts talk that we will see rates start to drop end of Q2, start sometime Q3
Yeah,
of next year.
yeah, and
But
once
not
again-
by a lot. They're saying like we might see 100 basis points from where they. And so if we're at 3.75, let's just say we go to 4 in December, and then maybe they go to like 4.5 January. Then they'll maybe go down to 3.5, which then puts us at like what 5-year money would be. What after that?
in the fours,
Yeah,
high fours.
but a 2,200 square foot new built home in the city of London is still going to be 1.3 mil.
And then you have to have 20% down.
Yeah, so you need. What is that? 300.
Yeah, 260 closing costs,
260
land transfers.
closing costs, land transfer. You need $300,000.
And then now,
There's not that many people cashing out Bitcoin. Like,
I mean,
I don't,
they
like-
could be, but it's not going well.
yeah, it's definitely not going well. But like, so
Yeah.
yeah,
So hopefully, I mean, because I'm an optimist, I'm thinking Q2,
Yeah.
the beginning of Q2, the prices will start dropping. That means Q3, Q4.
yeah,
That's just the way it is, because I'm positive, so I'm wrong. So it'll probably be Q3, Q4 before
Yeah.
we see that. But I think that, well, I mean, here's the thing. So in the last 2 weeks, The 5-year fixed insured rate has gone down from 5.24 to 5.09.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a break. So that's kind of a cool
Yeah.
indicator. But it's also, here's the problem, is it's also the Q1 for a lot of lenders.
Right.
Because
So
October 31st is their
right.
Is their year
So
end.
it's the okay. We need to start getting.
That's right. So we need some
Right.
more money on the books,
Right.
So we can fill our balance sheet and then we can start
Kind of.
doing all the things.
And the way lenders always work is you want it. I was going to say guns blazing in the first quarter, but you kind of would like to have a good first quarter because then you're not panicked later on in your fiscal year.
Then it won't be like a fire sale. So you're like
Right.
Q3 and you're like, oh,
But mortgage generation, like new mortgage generation, is what? Isn't that like a 20-year low right now?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's drastically low.
So, would that, in theory, then it could potentially push 5-year fixed rate money down into the 4s? Could it? Or is there not enough spread there? I don't like.
There's two ways. There's two ways to think about it. There's supply and demand. So if there's less volume, you need to make more money per.
Right.
So it could raise rates.
It's right.
But if you want to attract more volume, you have to lower your rate.
Right.
So there's two different ways.
It's
to
a
think about
double-edged
it.
sword.
Absolutely. Here's the crazy thing about 2022. Scotiabank moved their 5-year conventional money, their 5-year fixed conventional rates, like once in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So they enjoyed a very good year of people just paying whatever it is they could get
Yeah.
because they have specific programs
Yeah.
that would just fill the coffers, right? That was crazy. It was crazy. I was watching it. I mean, we did a little bit of business with Scotiabank, but usually
Yeah.
it's like one of the top 3 lenders.
Yeah. And they were just
But they
like,
were
no,
just like, we're cool.
we're
man.
sitting
We
here.
got
That's it.
enough coming in.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting when you sort of look at the end of the year. We're coming up on our year end, so I'm looking at who we supported and why and
Yeah.
what their performance was, and you have all these metrics, and it was really interesting to see that they were just comfortable with all the changes and they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They still got business, which is amazing. What a great place to be.
Well, I mean, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like Scotia really likes investment properties, right? That's their.
That's a
big
they can
chunk
do
of
that.
their
They've got
portfolio.
some programs with hold co's and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
they do more. They have to be honest with you, they have the best rental analysis in
Interesting.
the industry. So yeah, they allow for a lot easy calculation,
Yeah.
and they're very flexible with it, which
Yeah.
is nice.
And then some lenders, they just do not like rental properties, so
Absolutely
they
not.
make it a nightmare.
This spreadsheet's hilarious.
Yeah.
You have to put in this cost and times it by like 13 and then divide it by this, so it just gets to an egregious number.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense. They're like, no, sorry, we can't do it. And you're like, I know. We know.
How about where do you think housing prices are going in the next 12 months? I'll phrase it this way. Where do you see housing prices going in the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years?
Here in London?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Because there's so many different markets.
Yeah.
I mean, Victoria, British Columbia, when you're talking about Vancouver Island,
Yeah.
their list to sell percentage is 102%. So people
Yeah.
are still getting over asking.
So, okay, who's buying out there?
Everybody that's from Ontario and Alberta.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's just people are getting out. They
Absolutely. They're
want.
just like, yeah, you know what? COVID's done.
Like-
I want to be outside. I want to be in the woods. I
Yeah.
want to be on the water. I want to do all of the things.
It's
right?
much better air out there.
As soon as you get off the plane
Yeah.
on the island, it's ridiculous. It's remarkable. But I mean, here I don't know. I don't know what that stat would be as far as the the list.
All right.
itself,
So,
right?
so call it on a national level. Like just
Yeah, sure. I think that the prices are going to have to go a little bit lower,
yeah.
just by virtue of there's going to be a lot of panic. There's going to be a lot of panic because these new builds are coming up.
In the next 12 months, let's
The
say
next 12
year.
months.
Okay.
Yeah, so all these new builds are coming up, and you're not getting the same amount that you planned on
'Cause
getting with the sale.
Yeah, like statistically, right now, nobody is panic selling.
Yeah.
It's just not happening
Right.
yet.
Right.
It could happen. I have no idea. I don't think it's going to happen in the resale market. I agree with you that we might see it in the new build market.
I think even in the resale market because
You might.
because the panic with new builds.
Yeah,
So I'm saying if
I
you're,
guess, yeah,
if you're
if
selling
you-
your house and they might have to go down because they might have to sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I
If
guess
they're
we
holding
do
on
know
to the
we
market,
do know
right?
of a few people who are kind of in a bit of a bind.
Yeah.
Like
So I mean, there's that. So I think the prices may go down, especially in the slower seasons. When you
Yeah.
hit the spring market, I don't know. I don't think there's a seasonality to the market anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
there is in segments of it.
Okay.
So like, if you're a first time home buyer and you know it's either just you, like if you're dual income, no kids, right? There's no seasonality. You can do whatever the hell you want,
Yeah.
right? The second you throw kids in the mix, things get complicated.
Sure.
Because you have school, you have holidays, like it's disruptive, especially younger kids, right? And then when you get into that retired bracket, again, not as much there,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest push right now is affordability.
Yep.
So when you're talking about the mortgage qualifying rate, when you're talking about the stress test, when you're
Yeah.
talking about all that, that's the biggest problem right now.
Yeah.
Is I have to qualify people at almost 8%.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It's ludicrous.
Okay, so
So
And there's been-
that's going to be the big drive for the new builds, right?
Right.
And that's going to be the big drive for people that are trying to upgrade, is going to the different market. Is how much you have to sell your house for less because the buyer can't afford the higher price.
Yeah.
That's the problem right now. Is
So-
you can't afford the higher price.
So do you think we're going to see policy adjustments? I guess, and is that Banking Act legislation adjust? Like who?
It
I
would-
mean,
no,
it's-
it wouldn't be Bank
who-
Act. It would
what
be,
act
Department
governs
of
that?
Finance, I think, would have to do that.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And OSFI would have to be part of it. And be, yeah,
So, do you foresee? Because I know there's been talk about it. There's been chatter where they're like, "Do we still need to qualify people at a rate that's 3% higher than what they are?" I understand, but when did they introduce that? I guess did they?
October of 2016.
And what were rates then?
Low.
Like okay, so it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I get why, because it's like, well, no, it was to ensure that there's a cushion based off of what happened in the past 12 months to 2 years
Yeah.
here. But,
It was a what-if scenario, which
Yeah.
happened with the super low rates. They're like, well, what if it goes up? Everybody's artificially low, so when it comes to renewal rates, what if rates are 4 or 5%?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? We want to make sure that everybody's okay, so there's not a
so,
huge
so I
issue
guess
with
it was a good
default, right?
idea.
It made
But-
it made sense, but not to the point of the 200 basis points.
Yeah.
Now here's the curveball, is with a FIRFI, federally regulated financial institution, banks, monoline lenders,
Okay.
FIRFIs. We call them FIRFIs,
The
not
FIRFIs.
furries. Way different.
Yeah.
FIRFIs. They fall under the Bank Act and different regulations, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about credit unions, they can qualify you based on your contract rate. Your contract rate is what you're paying on your commitment. So let's just say you're paying 4.5%. I get to qualify you at 4.5%.
If you go through a credit union versus if you go through.
or if you go one of the FIRFIs. So monoline lenders, Scotiabank, TD,
So,
big banks.
yeah,
that
okay,
kind
I
of
was just
stuff,
going to
right?
say, explain what a monoline lender
so
is
top
for people.
the big
Like,
banks and then monoline lenders. So anybody that falls under the Bank Act or the
So like an
regulations there.
MCAP is probably one of the biggest. So are they fall under the
They're a
Banking
FIRFI.
Act? They're
That's
FIRFI.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
but not
Not credit
like
unions.
Libro,
No,
Meridian,
that's right.
Main Street. Do they
Main
still,
Street, YNCU.
yeah.
There's
They
there's
have
really-
flexibility.
That's right, and there's a bunch of small credit unions in different neighborhoods and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. That just,
However, the one thing though with credit unions, correct me if I'm wrong on this. They write mortgages based off of their deposits
that's right. Which
of their
basically-
membership.
basically balance
So
sheet, yeah.
yeah, they don't have access to the money that like an MCAP does or a Royal Bank.
No,
Right.
That's right. Yeah,
So-
it's a balance sheet. Yeah.
So even though they can do that, they are, I'm assuming, a little more cautious on things because it's literally their
ownership.
their ownership's money. They don't go to they don't go to a pension fund and say, "Hey, give us $3 billion and we'll invest it in mortgages."
Yeah, they could securitize, so they could
They
do
could?
that if they wanted.
Okay.
Yeah, they could get extra funds. I mean, they do that every once in a while and come out with this like ridiculous rate and then fill their coffers and spend
And-
8 weeks for underwriting.
Yeah.
And you miss like closing dates and stuff. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with
No,
that
but-
lender, but I mean that's just supply and demand,
Yeah.
right? So you just have to be cognizant of the size of these institutions and what they can handle as far as volume is concerned,
Yeah.
right? So I mean that's another thing is credit unions might profit a little bit more from this.
I could see that.
So, I mean, instead of trying to qualify at 8, if you qualify at 5.5, sometimes you'd have to, right?
So okay, so let's talk about that.
And that's on more conventional money, not insured money or everything. That's conventional money. So 20% down or more.
Yeah.
Right.
So okay, but so let's just say if you're like, what is the purchasing power difference there? Like, if you have to qualify at 8% and you're buying $500,000,
Yeah.
if you can then qualify at 5 or whatever it is,
Right.
what's the difference? What can you afford at that rate? Ballpark.
Over 100.
Yeah. So that's a very different home. Especially like right
Be a
now,
different segment.
it could yeah.
Yeah.
If you're like your affordability's $500,000 versus 600, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. So
You think they're going to adjust that then for the fur fees? I said that right, fur fees?
Furfies, yeah. I'm smiling because probably not.
Yeah, they won't, eh?
I don't think so. I mean, here's the thing. In Europe, in the States, they have longer amortization.
Yep.
There's a couple
Well,
lenders.
we used to have longer here.
Oh, let me tell you something. When I got in the industry, I was doing 100% financing.
Yeah, 50-year
and
AMs?
40-year AMs.
40 years,
year
okay.
AMs.
So,
So
yeah, 40 were the max, right?
Yeah, 40 was
okay.
the max. Yeah, so that's including rental properties.
Oh,
And
yeah.
all at the same rate.
Yep, I
There's
know.
no surcharges, no nothing, right? So we were in the industry at the same
Yeah,
time.
I remember those times.
So it's just like, okay, write a client's name on a napkin and fax it into head office, and they're like, okay, when does it close? And you're like, yay, money.
Yeah,
So it was crazy back then,
yeah.
right? So I mean, now everything's obviously.
I know people who were, it was 100% financing, 40-year AMs, buying rental properties.
Yeah, yeah, it's both.
And it was just like gobbling them up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then there was a bit of a blip because eventually they removed all of that, and then renewals were coming, and then a lot of those people were in these weird spots where now they were getting hosed on their renewals because they couldn't go anywhere, and you're like, well, it is what it is. I mean,
It was a captive market, right? So if
Yeah.
you're at BMO with a 40-year, in 5 years, you have to stay with BMO because
you're just, it is what it is.
Unless you go down to a 30 and it's fine,
Yeah,
right?
but does it make sense on a rental? And in a lot of cases, it no longer does because the rents are the rents, the expenses are the expenses. Like there's not a whole lot you can do to change it. So then, do you foresee legislation changing to increase amortization? So are we going to go
Not in
past?
the next 12 months.
No. Could it maybe 3 years?
Maybe. I think they would have to. Here's the thing.
Because
It's-
So hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
Just don't want to stay on
Sure.
this.
Yeah. Please.
So, at a fur fee, longest
You
dealing.
like saying that.
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I keep thinking like a little, like stuffed animal fur thing. But
Makes
anyways,
sense. You usually do.
yeah. So is a 25-year the max they can do?
Furfies? No,
Furfies.
if for conventionally, you can go up to 30.
So conventional fur fees can go to 30.
Yeah.
If it's high ratio, it's 25.
That's correct.
Okay, and then go over to example of a credit union. They can do up to.
They can do 30.
They can do 30.
Yep.
On conventional and high ratio.
Just conventional.
Just
High
conventional.
ratio is because it's
Is-
CMAC,
Right.
CG.
They've got it.
SAGN, they're 25-year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So-
also alternative lenders.
Yep.
So still Furfies, but 20% down. We can consider lower beacon scores. We can do stated income programs for clients. Some of them have access to 35 and 40 years.
How are they able to access that?
It's
Just because it's
alternative lending,
Alternative
and
lending,
it's
so
on
rates are
their,
higher.
That's right. It's on their balance sheet, so they
Right.
have the flexibility to do that.
because it's not insured.
That's correct.
The key. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. So,
So-
but the interest rates are higher and there's fees involved.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you gotta really want it.
Or you really have to be in a dire situation where that's your only option.
Yeah. So, and you don't think they're going to look at changing that anytime soon,
No, because that would help the market,
right?
and I don't think they're interested in making it more accessible.
But they always talk about housing crises. I mean, they want to open up development in the green belt so that to a very exclusive group of developers. Oddly, no, really, so that they can create more supply.
Right. Right.
But again, like
Who can afford it right now?
that's the funny part about the whole topic is like again, you can bring interest rates as high as you want.
Yes.
It's not helping the 6,000 a curb foot or 8,000 a curb foot lot price. I mean, dirt is dirt, right? I mean, permits keep going up. Lots of building materials come out of the United States, so the weaker Canadian dollar is problematic. It's just a whole. That's why I always say, like, these politicians have no flipping clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, really, okay, what would make new construction prices fall? Try and figure out how to get the Canadian dollar on par to the U.S. Oh, well, we don't want to make the auto sector angry. Well, boo-hoo.
They're doing
Like,
okay. The auto sector.
They are. They're fine.
Yeah. When you walk into a dealership and you're like, I want that car. What's the price? And they're like, this plus.
Yeah. You're
Wait,
like, but no,
what?
the sticker price says it's X.
That's
the price you just
suggested.
gave me is like 10, it's like 10% more. Yeah, well, it is what it is.
And when can I have it?
I'll tell you, like,
a year.
Yeah, 12 months from now. Sorry, what?
Wait, so I'm overpaying,
Yeah.
and I don't get it right now.
Well, did you see? So even there's a big stink when Ford released the F-150 Lightnings, that dealerships were charging people like $20,000 above MSRP. Because, and I don't know why. I've never wanted something that bad. Where I mean, like, it's a vehicle, especially, like, they depreciate. You're not buying an exclusive supercar where they're only making 50, and that's it, and you're over. Like, no, like, you're buying a pickup truck that you drive it off the lot. You're losing, what is it, 30%?
It's
I
30%,
think.
I
Like,
think. Yeah, that's what the last time I heard. Yeah.
like, so clearly, like, if you look at it and that people are willing to pay that, there clearly is a problem out there that people have too much disposable income.
Well, when you drive off the lot
Like-
with your over, when you paid, an extra $20,000 over, you just lost $50,000.
Yeah, and you don't care. It just shows there's too much liquidity in the system.
Yeah.
But maybe only too much liquidity. Like, you can make the argument too much liquidity for certain people.
Right.
Because again, like
But if you can bake it into the financing,
yeah, then no
And
one
you're
cares.
not out of pocket.
And then and then
You're
back
chasing
to
a payment.
You're chasing a payment, and
Right.
as long as the payment works,
yeah.
that's all people
And
care
that's
about.
what we've been doing for the last little while.
Yeah.
Can you tolerate this payment at your max
Yes.
budget? Then this is what you can. And it's so crazy because we've had to do so many pre-approvals on so many different houses because different property taxes, or if it's
Yes.
condos, different condo fees. So the amount of pre-approvals, and then changing when the rates change, like the pre-approval. So you have the same like bucket of clients that we've had to do 14 pre-approvals
Yeah.
for each. Like it's insane
Yeah.
to make sure that people aren't making like knee-jerk purchases,
Yeah,
right?
Don't do something stupid, people.
No, please don't.
Yeah. How did you feel about the what? No, I want to. This is maybe a touchy topic, but so like the job as a realtor is to land the plane, right? Which essentially means like if you're representing a buyer, it's to get you the house. That's it. Get you the house.
Where you go? I know where
Okay.
you're going with this. Okay.
As a seller, it's to sell your home for the most amount of money with the least amount of inconveniences. That's it. It's not to care about the buyer and the agent on the other end. And then on the flip side, when you're a realtor representing a buyer, I don't care about the seller and the selling or the listing and the listing agent, right? What did you think about for almost 12 months, the only way to get a house was to be firm.
It was longer than that.
Was it longer? I guess like 18 months. How dangerous was that? Like that was. I'll say it because this is maybe. That was terrifying to me. I'm just going to say it. Like I was not comfortable with it, but. Well, you're only like, if literally every home that's selling has 20 offers. But also, what was weird about it, why it worked. I don't even know if lenders were appraising properties during this.
Oh yeah.
They were, and it was just
Yeah.
like, okay, but lenders and appraisers weren't pushing back on any price for the longest time. Why?
Market.
Just, they were like,
Marketability. That's
it's
all
just,
it is. So
yeah, it's like, hey, if this doesn't come together, we can sell
We
it
can sell in
tomorrow,
this
and who
market,
cares?
yeah.
Like, just, that's it.
I mean, in the beginning of it, yeah, it was just cowboy it up.
Yeah.
And they were just like, the appraisal costs went through the frickin' roof. Like, it was insane because now a lot of appraisers have what's considered like a jumbo value.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was $500,000.
Yeah.
So they're just like, oh, this is a jumbo home, so it's over $500,000, so it's a $600 appraisal. And you're like, this was $375 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and they're just like,
$285. This is what they're like.
yes. It's like, well, yeah, that's just what it is now.
Yeah, this is what you do now. You're
Yeah.
like, you want your bag of milk. You're like, okay, I'll take the bag of milk. Thank you. I've got to get the deal done, right?
Mhm.
So, it was scary, man. I mean, here's the thing, and you have. Here's the biggest problem: is we didn't even get the courtesy call from a lot of realtors.
Yeah.
If it wasn't referred over to us by the realtor, I wasn't even getting a courtesy call.
Yeah.
And not that they have to.
No,
but as the realtor, don't you think it's an intelligent thing to do to call? So what's the likelihood of? Or you could just say, like, how badly do I want my client to get sued?
Yeah. Well, then in the end, I mean, the reality of how dangerous it was, it's like, well, okay, then as the realtor, you better make sure that you document, and I say documented because people forget about this, that you documented the advice that you were giving.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know about your industry, but in real estate,
Oh,
like
no, we have note sections.
yeah, like we're governed by REBA 2002, and
Yeah.
when you have a complaint, it's, hello, realtor, we have already determined that you're in the wrong unless you can prove otherwise.
That's right.
Right? And that's, I mean, I hate to say it, it's almost semi-fair because, well, no, if we're all the professionals, then we will have documentation
Right.
on what we have said to people. I know at one point what we were trying to do, if you know there's a very high likelihood that you're going to offer on the property, we would send and I know we did this with you guys, we would send the MLS listing over just as like, hey, John and Jane Doe will probably offer on this property, right? So like, and then it's also, we think it's going to go to this price. And in a lot of cases, like let's just say it was house is listed at 600. Yeah, it might go to 725.
Right.
Like, give us an idea of like is how problematic is this? And I remember getting emails back. Well, I am going to advise you that no matter what, you should have a financing condition in there. But I also understand that the market's the market, and your only way to get a house is like it's everybody. And I agree, and
Yep.
you know, and that's why you saw realtors, they would put the financing clause in, scratch it out, like.
Right.
And I mean, even you sold a house in this market.
That was interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, full disclosure, thank you for doing such a great job.
you're welcome.
With 22 offers.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I
22
don't- it
offers
was
on the
obscene.
house, and it ended up selling for 250,000 over.
Yeah.
And the purchaser was $90,000 higher than the next
Yep.
highest offer.
Yep.
I mean, there was issues with appraisals.
Oh, yeah. Well, the appraiser called us.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just the real estate, the more like the I call it like the housing industry's relatively small.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if I got the phone call before and then you got or how it worked out, but they called and they were like, "Listen, just so you know, I did this, and I don't want you guys to be upset." And I'm like, "Why would I be upset? Like, you're doing your job."
Yeah.
They said, "I fully understand
Yeah.
that it would be impossible to get an appraisal in at the price that it sold at."
Absolutely.
He said, "But," and I remember talking to the appraiser, and I know the appraiser rather well.
Yeah.
And I said, "But here's the thing." I said, "I don't care, and I don't think the seller cares, because we understand this world." I said, "I did my job. We marketed the property. We got a ridiculous amount of showings. I warned you guys. I said, you guys are going to hate your lives.
Oh, moved out of the
It's
house.
good. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just move out. It's going to be a nightmare. You're like 2 days in, you're going to send me a nasty message. Like, and I said, I'm cool with it. I know this is going to happen."
Yeah.
And I mean, you didn't send the nasty message, but I remember talking with you guys, and it's like, yeah, okay, just like you said, this sucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
And people have sweaty feet.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really gross.
Yeah, but like, how do you?
I mean, it was
How do
worth
you-
the money.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, people are gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a case like that, it's like, well, and I think in the end, the person who bought the home,
It was the right move.
it was
They
the
made
right move.
oh,
They
for
got
sure.
what they wanted. Like
Yeah.
they got. That's
And
it.
I mean,
Sometimes
to be
you
quite
have to
honest with you,
overspend.
I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
If I was in that position, be like, this is baller. I want
Yeah.
this place. This is perfect for
I
me.
want this place. I don't care.
Me want it. Like, it's, once
Yeah.
again, binary. It's a
Yeah.
1 or a 0. It's a solid one for
That's
me.
yeah,
So, yeah, I just did it.
yeah,
And there was no repercussions. There was
Yeah.
no, it closed on time.
Yeah.
Everything was awesome. The communication between everybody was awesome. But yeah, it was scary for a while
Yeah.
because you're just like, oh, you did what? Oh, you. So, well, we would have clients and be like, you're approved for 550. Don't go over 550.
yeah.
Based on your credit.
Hey, we went
based
to
on that,
600.
Hey, we went to 625. Do you realize 625 is over 550, right? And
Yeah.
we said 550. Okay. They're like, yeah, is that a problem? Well, I don't know.
Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
$75,000
How many hamburgers
above
you eat
your.
a day? It's not great.
Yeah.
Like what? So take it easy. Like
Yeah.
just so I mean, it was an issue sometimes. And you're just like, okay, great. Like, what's your mom and dad do?
Yeah, yeah. Like I.
Or
you know,
in some cases, it's like, what do your kids do? Because
Yeah.
like grown ass people are just going out cowboying.
Yeah.
And you're just like, we need a son or a daughter or both on this application because you didn't listen.
Yeah.
But then going back to that, but it amazed me that the courtesy call wasn't there.
yeah,
Oh, who's doing the pre-approval? Well, Andrew at Modern Mortgage at Axiom doing the mortgage, and they're just like, oh, okay, cool, but they wouldn't call.
but they wouldn't call.
No,
Yeah,
not all. Like some did, obviously, the pros that I know.
Yeah,
which is
but
a
lots
fair
don't.
bit, but lots don't. They're just like, ooh, I want to write a deal, and you're just like, yeah, but it's not going to close. When
Yeah.
you wasted everybody's time, and you
yeah.
might got your client.
and your client might get sued,
Yeah.
and then that means you might get sued.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Right.
Like, and I don't know anybody. I mean, the average person, or even, I mean, I know a few millionaires. I don't know a ton, but like, I know a handful of people who have a really, like, a good amount of money.
Mhm.
They can't afford to lose. Nobody can afford to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars, or like they just can't. No
A
one
lot,
can.
a lot of people aren't playing with hundreds of dollars,
No.
thousands of dollars.
No.
They've just got the minimum down payment that will allow that.
Yeah.
How much can I afford with as little down as possible?
Yeah. One of the things, like when I talk with, newer agents, or I coach agents, and we start talking about like how to work with buyers and sellers. I was having this conversation with an agent just the other day because they have a client who's looking at getting a pre-approval, and they're like, "Well, I was told okay by Tuesday I'll have an answer." When were you told that? I was like, maybe I'm making this up, but it's like, well, Friday. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, call Monday afternoon. Really? Why? Just trust me. Just call. And they said, as a realtor, the best thing that you can ingrain in your head is always call a day early and understand you're the quarterback, right? Because we're the ones that have to figure out how to make everything work, right? We're like, the mortgage person is not going out and doing a property search with a client.
I'm not working with insurance companies.
No, you're not, like,
I send stuff
yeah.
to lawyers.
Yeah, like you've got it. It's when you do look at it, it's like you've got the client and the realtor right here, and then there's a branch that goes out to the mortgage company, to the insurance company, to the lawyers, to the appraiser, to like whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You're the quarterback, or the point guard, or whatever other weird sports analogy you want to use.
Right.
But and I always said, like, always call and follow up early.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, but they said I said, no. I said, just
Get
do
ahead
it.
of it.
Just trust me. If you get ahead of everything all the time, you will put so many more deals together, or you figure out how to straighten a curveball.
Yeah, when you're
Right.
constantly in motion, you're going to stay
Yeah.
in motion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, that's it. That's just what you do. Like, you follow up. Like, hey, and again, like with the mortgage thing, it's like, call the mortgage broker. Hey, I know, it's Monday. I know you said by Tuesday we'll have an answer. I'm just calling. I just want to make sure the client got you everything.
Right.
Because sometimes they don't. Like,
Oh.
well, what's missing? Oh, the pay stub. Well, I don't have a scanner to fax it in. Okay, well, you can snap a picture with, like, but maybe they don't, and maybe they don't want to send it. Great. Okay, so then you as the realtor, what do? Go meet up with them at their work.
Right.
Go grab a copy of it, put it in a sealed envelope. If they don't want you to see it, whatever. And then just go handle it. Like, just, again, you're the quarterback.
But when it comes to pre-approvals and you're confirming with the lender, it's a 4.5 minute conversation,
Yeah.
unless you know them, unless it's
Yeah.
you and I. And then,
we'll,
we're going to dribble on
yeah,
for
we'll
an
talk
hour.
for 30 minutes about
Right.
absolutely nothing,
Yeah,
and then
which
right
makes
at the
no
tail
sense.
end,
And
it's
we're
like,
like,
oh yeah, where are we at with
business.
this?
Yeah. And then you're just like, it's a 5 minute, in theory, it's a 5 minute conversation with the lender because it's a yes or no.
Yeah.
Or I'm awaiting on.
Yeah, or it's
And you're
I'm
just
waiting
like,
for
well, we're
this,
thinking about-
or
the client told me 650, and you're just like 575 all day long. So change your search, unless they've
Yeah.
got another $100,000 they didn't tell me about.
yeah,
Which could save a lot of time for everybody, right?
yes. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's in the end, and it's interesting. We've always said this: everybody who's buying a home should start really talking to a lender.
Yeah.
Because if you have no idea what you can afford, why are you getting yourself emotionally attached to potentially buying a house that you'll never be able to buy?
That's right.
I get that people just like to look at Realtor.ca and look at $3 million homes. Of course, everybody does. Like I like
that.
to, like
especially
yeah.
with all the video tours now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, I can stand in the living room and spin around.
Yeah, like it's
That's amazing.
awesome. But
Yeah.
again, though, it's like if you really are looking at buying something, you really do need to understand exactly what you can afford, but then also understand what you're comfortable affording. Because if you can afford X, that doesn't mean you necessarily want to make that payment.
That's right. Yeah, I have that conversation. It's like, okay, so how much would you like to buy for versus what does that number look like on a monthly payment?
Yeah.
It's two very, very different things.
Oh, you can afford $600. Oh, that's awesome, great.
It costs you
But
$4,000.
yeah, it's
You're
going to
like,
cost you
"Oh,
X.
really?"
Oh shit,
Yeah.
that means I can't buy my $8 Starbucks drink and eat.
Remote control helicopter is another example. You can't afford that.
Yeah,
I'd like one.
that'd be fun.
I think we should have an airport. Can we put that in your backyard? Is in your room?
Uh,
Helicopters are good because you don't have to really.
well,
land
you don't
like
need a
that,
yeah,
right?
you don't
just
yeah,
ups
like you
and
just
downs.
go ups and downs, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of regulation around it. Like you can't.
Like drones and stuff. Same difference.
No, but like drones are different because
It's a
like you.
stealth helicopter. Nobody would know.
I mean, you could land a helicopter in my backyard.
Yeah,
Yes,
just like a remote control one,
I
not a
would
big
probably
one.
like easy,
Not
but like a
full-size one.
real helicopter, you can't land it in
No.
a regular neighborhood. You're not
No.
allowed. Just
Right.
homes are too close.
Understood.
Yeah.
Blow some windows out.
But yeah, like a remote control. I mean, that's a drone.
That
That's
would be
what
great.
we're-
Yeah. That's what I want.
yeah.
Yeah. Cameras
We.
on it.
I have a drone, and I lost it in the woods behind our house because it was too windy. When
Do you have
Gavin-
Do you have drone sniffing dogs?
No. We also shot up rockets the other day with the boys.
I saw that.
Yeah, lost both.
Went really far.
Dude, they went 1,100 feet up in the air.
Yeah, that's aggressive.
Yeah, oh yeah. The
like
kids
that.
loved it.
Yeah.
We had kids in the neighborhood that saw, what are you doing? We're like, oh, I'm going to launch a rocket. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how many people don't do just like outdoorsy weird stuff with their kids.
Yeah. I
It's-
think it's super.
Yeah, like I remember, so Tara got them when she went over to shopping in Port Huron with her mom. And she was at, I don't know, there's some big toy place there. I forget what it's called.
Yeah. Okay.
Toy barn. It's not that, but whatever. It's just like, it's like a Walmart, but it's all just like crazy cool toys, like models
We
and
should go
stuff.
after this then.
Sure.
Get a
And she's
helicopter.
like, I've always joked, like, I want to launch these rocket. I've never done it. Like, and I was like, it'd be kind of neat. Like,
So why don't?
and I was like, let's do it. And then she sent me a photo. She's like, here's a 2-pack. I'm like, buy it.
Yeah. Right
I'm like,
now.
just get it now.
Toys, please.
And she's like, let's give it to the boys at Christmas. And I'm like, the hell with that.
as soon as you get
I'm
home.
thinking, once you get home,
Yeah.
maybe
putting
not this
safety
weekend, but
glasses
yeah,
on.
we're
Yeah.
launching these things for fun,
Okay.
right? Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, in reality, you need like a 200-acre field to launch it, because the second like the capsule up top pops off and the parachute comes out,
The wind.
the wind takes the
Is the
damn
wind.
thing, and you don't even need a strong wind,
Yeah.
right?
You should put messages in those.
That'd be funny. Well, and then we went around to all the homes asking, like, hey, do you have our rocket in your backyard? And
Is that
we
what
probably
your
went through,
question
like,
asked people?
we probably went through 50 backyards, couldn't find him. We have a general, I mean, maybe in the spring someone will find him.
If you
I had
did
no
that.
idea. But, anyways,
Mm-hmm.
we've been doing this for a while. Any other last thoughts you got about state of the mortgage world and real estate world? And we didn't crank beers from Forked River, but
No. Thanks to Fork River for making beer, though.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
I like beer.
Are we sponsored now?
Nope.
Okay.
We could just say we are for fun.
I don't think we're allowed to do that.
We're not allowed to. No.
No, I
I
don't
think
think
there's
so.
rules around these things.
Not that anybody's going to watch. but
No.
No. It's fun just to talk to you about it, though.
Yeah.
No, the mortgage industry is it's still interesting, and people still want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's still sexy, right? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, everybody pushes this, and it's like when people get into real estate, the first video that they release on their Instagram is talk to a mortgage professional.
Everybody does it. Talk
Get
to a mortgage
pre-approved.
professional. Get pre-approved.
Just get
Yeah.
pre-approved. Here's the thing.
No one does it.
I still get phone calls with people who are like, we just want to know how much we can afford.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What do you have saved up for down payment? Oh, nothing yet.
Can't answer that.
So, well, you know, in theory, if you want to purchase a $400,000 home, you need $20,000
Yep.
plus closing costs, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
yada.
You need about call it 30K.
And like,
Just for-
how long is it going to take? Do you think for you to save, you know, $30,000? And like,
yeah, 4 years. Okay. Well.
yeah, we'll probably talk in 4 years because I
Yeah.
don't know what the regulations are.
Yeah.
So, do you have anybody that can gift you the money, or? But I mean, people are still calling me that don't have any money saved, but they want to purchase a home,
Yeah.
but you can't though.
Yeah. You can't
So-
borrow the money. You can't.
No, don't.
You know, our mom and dad maybe
Yeah.
going to give you early inheritance,
Right.
down payment,
Living-
like
yeah.
what? I don't know.
Yeah, a living benefit from that, like, you know, living gift. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's really interesting. But I mean, what you're going to see in 2023 is a lot more alternative business.
Yeah.
So because they can go, you know, with a higher GDS, TDS affordability, right?
Makes total sense.
So that's what's going to happen. So longer RAM, but I mean that's going to drive fees up. So it's 1%, 2%, 2.5% on top of what, and that's cash out of pocket.
Yeah.
So land transfer tax. Now you got your mortgage fees on top of that. You're paying your realtor if you're selling and buying, that kind of stuff. It's getting very expensive,
Yeah.
and then to afford that on a monthly basis. So it's interesting to see. So
Yeah.
I mean, just honestly, just get pre-approved, have a conversation. And I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if you're sitting at a 20-year amortization right now, and the payments are getting a little ridiculous because you're variable, give us a call.
Yeah.
Like we can
Have the conversation
yeah,
early.
increase that to 30 years and give yourself a break.
Yeah.
Put it on a line of credit so you're interest only. Do this, do that. Like just
Yeah.
make a move. If you're the worst thing to do when you're in a financial crisis or a financial concern is just wait on it and sit
Yeah.
on it, because that's going to give you a freaking aneurysm.
Oh yeah.
Like it'll just build up. And one of the things that I've, you know, is just people's relationship with money.
Yeah.
Just discover that. Just deal with your relationship with money, because everybody's so weird about money. Just have a
Yes.
conversation with one of us.
Yeah.
And you know, with a mortgage professional that actually knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And have the conversation just so you can get some
And throw out
relief, right?
hypotheticals like, well, what if this? What if that? What would this
Yeah.
look like? What would that look like? Like, just I guess it's your advice is try and educate yourself.
Without a doubt. And talk to somebody. Like talk to somebody you respect and you know that knows something about it.
Yeah.
And then they can refer you over to a professional. Don't always just take their advice, but like
Yeah.
you know, get a referral to a professional that deals in that field. Right?
Yeah.
Just prepare yourself, because I don't think a lot of people do that enough.
No, I don't think they do.
And they're just like,
Good
me want
advice.
house now, me want house, me pay mortgage, me have
Yeah.
house now, and you're just
Yeah.
like, great, cool, how's your house? Empty.
Yeah. All right, let's end it there.
All right.
All right. So Matt Santacapital from the Santa Sells Houses team, Andrew Young from
Axiom Mortgage
Axiom
Solutions.
Mortgage Solutions, formerly known as the Modern Mortgage Unlimited Co.
That's right.
Thank you for coming in.
Pleasure's mine. Thanks
You
for
know.
thanks for the words.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
And to you, happy holidays.
We're not sure if we'll see each other in December, but we wore fun shirts.
I might show
for
up at
this.
your house. You never know.
Hey, I would love it.
Me
You're
too.
welcome anytime.
I appreciate you, man.
All right. See you
Thanks.
guys.